In this video, we are going to solve the equation that's displayed here. This is a linear equation. And before we jump into the solution, I just want to quickly remind you of the general steps for solving linear equations. So to solve a linear equation, what you want to do is simplify both sides of the equation as much as possible. All right, once you get each side as simple as you can possibly get it, then generally you want to use the addition property that we talked about in the previous video, that is add or subtract from both sides. And the goal there is to get every term with the variable on one side of the equation and every term without the variable on the other side of the equation. And then once you've accomplished that, then generally what you want to do is to use the multiplication property. Okay? All right, so let's go and work through that. So first off, what I want to do is simplify both sides as much as I possibly can. So over here on the left side, we see that we have 6x minus 5 minus 3x. And so we have a couple of like terms, and like terms can be combined, right? And the like terms are the 6x and the minus 3x, okay? Remember, like terms have to have exactly the same variables with exactly the same exponents. And so the 6x and the 3x are like, and therefore they can be combined. And the way we do that, right, is we just combine the numbers out in front. 6x's minus 3x's is going to give me positive 3x, right? And then the minus 5 is not like any of the other terms in on the left side of the equation, and so it can't be combined, right? Over on the right hand side, we have 14 minus 5x, and that is as simple as it's going to get. We do not have any like terms there, so I'm just going to simply rewrite that here. Okay. And now we have each side as simple as we could possibly get it. There's no more simplifications that we could do. All right, so next up, what we want to do is to use the addition property to get all the terms with an x on one side of the equation, all the terms without an x on the other side of the equation. So there's different ways that you could do that, and they're all fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 5x to both sides, okay? And that's just generally the way I write it. If you write it another way, that's fine as well. So here I have 3 x's plus 5 more x's. That gives me 8 x's altogether. And then the minus 5 is going to be down, just brought down, and bring down that 14. All right, and here I have negative 5x plus 5x. These are like terms, and so they can be combined, right? So 5 plus minus, or 5 minus 5 will be 0 x's, and I'm not going to bother to write the plus 0 there because anything plus 0 is just itself, okay? All right, so we can see what that accomplished was that we got all the x terms over here on the left side of the equation, but we also want all the terms without an x, right, to be brought over to the other side of the equation. So the next thing I'm going to do then is to add 5 to both sides. All right, so the 8x is just going to be brought down, and then you have negative 5 plus 5, that's going to be 0, which again I am not going to bother to write. And then over here on the right side I have 14 plus 5, that is 19. All right, so I have 8x equals 19. So I have accomplished the intermediate goal, right, of getting all of the terms with an x on one side of the equation, all of the terms without the x on the other side of the equation. So once you get to that point, then what you would want to do is to divide both sides by whatever is multiplying by the x, right? We're using the multiplication property that says you can multiply or divide both sides of an equation by any number you like except for 0 and not change the solutions. So over here on the left hand side of 8x divided by 8, 8 divided by 8 is 1, so this is 1x. And so I don't bother to write that 1 there. And on the right hand side I have 19 over 8. And that's a fraction. You just want to make sure that that is reduced as much as possible. And it is, right? 19 is a prime number, so there's no factor of 8 that will go into 19. So that's the final answer on this one. In this class, in algebra class, you don't have to write this as a mixed number. You can just write it as 19 divided by 8 for the most part. You'll be doing most of your homework on Newton if you're in my class, and so Newton will sometimes be specific about the form that they want the answer, but for the most part, I don't recall too many places where it required a mixed number. All right, that's it for this problem.